welcome to Spines and Covers, and today I'm going to be doing my October TBR, and because I'm finally out of my reading slump, I think it's acceptable for me to have a TBR this month, and like last month when I was literally just finished this book so it can go back to the library, because you've had 2 extensions and this is getting ridiculously, like seriously Leigh, grow up and read a book. My 5-week long reading slump is officially over. It ended on the 6th of October, so all is well with the world. As you have seen, or maybe you haven't, I really recommend you go and watch my August/September wrap up, because that basically goes into more detail about reading slump and what I've actually been getting up to over the past 2 months and why I've kind of been MIA. I will also be posting a video on my main channel about why I've been MIA for the past couple of months. That video will be going up at the end of this month. It will be the last video I post in October on Life with Leigh, so please go check it out because it answers a lot of questions and I may have to do a Q&A on it depending on how it is received. Hopefully we can just drop the matter and get back to regular uploads. Woohoo! So let's get started with this month's TBR, and I'm super excited I get to read books. The first book on my TBR, which I talked about in my wrap up, and you'll know that I ranted about it because this was the one I had to get 2 library extensions of, and which is why I don't usually borrow books from the library because there's a little less pressure. This book actually had to go back. The first extension ran out on October 4th and I finished it on the 6th. But I have it until the 25th. It's Ian McEwan's The Children Act. This book is brilliant, let me just say first off. It is about this district, well, she's a circuit judge in the UK, and there is this one certain case about this boy who has leukemia and he is a Jehovah's Witness, and it is whether or not he should have a blood transfusion which could potentially save his life. You just follow the case and then you follow what happens afterwards. It has quite a sad ending, possibly not for the reasons you would think. The ending actually got spoiled slightly for me by my law teacher because she was like, "Oh, I cried at the end, didn't you?" And I was like, I haven't finished it. I'm in a reading slump, but whatever. But I did cry at the end. Happy tears and sad tears. It was a very, very good book. I highly recommend it if you are a law student, first of all, because it does also talk about actual cases, but also if you're just interested in law, how it works, or maybe you just want to read about this 17-year-old who has leukemia and his relationship as it develops with the judge, and also marital issues of the 60-year-old judge. She's pretty awesome, to be honest, and I really, really enjoyed this book, and it's a nice insight to how the circuit judges work. Anyway, I'm a law student, so I could talk about law for ages, but we're going to move on. This book was like 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. That's what I gave it, even though I started reading it on the 29th of August and I finished it on the 6th of October, and I had like 13 pages to read of it for the past 2 weeks. But moving on. I finished it, but it's going in my October TBR because this is an October TBR video. And it will also be in my October wrap-up, even though it was in my September wrap-up. But shh. Everything is messed up on this channel, so let's just carry on with it being messed up, okay? The next book I will be reading this month Wow. The next book I will be reading this month, which I have actually started, I started it yesterday and I am on chapter 5, is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard and the Hammer of Thor, which came out on the 4th of October, which was kind of why I was hoping I could take this back to the library on the 4th, but hey ho. My mum actually bought it for me yesterday and I've already read 5 chapters, so I'm definitely out of my reading slump. Not reading as quick as possible because I have some essays to write. I had a test to revise for last night. Been so busy with college work and also writing emails to law departments at universities. But enough about law! We're talking about Magnus Chase. This book, if you didn't know, is written by Rick Riordan. Here's the dust jacket. I take it off to read it. It is the 2nd book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series, which is written by Rick Riordan, the author of the Percy Jackson series and the Heroes of Olympus series and the Kane Chronicles, which are all fabulous. You should go read them. Actually, I haven't read the Kane Chronicles, so I shouldn't say anything. Or Trials of Apollo! I'm getting there, guys. Leave me alone. I've been in a 5 weeks reading slump. This book, I don't really want to ruin it too much if you haven't read the first one, but if you haven't read the first one, where have you been? You're on BookTube and you haven't read Magnus Chase. Anyway, Rick Riordan is like king. Although at the moment that's Ransom Riggs, but we'll get onto that later. He basically dies at the beginning of the first book and he goes to Valhalla, and it's not really a spoiler. They don't have like a Camp Half-Blood for Norse gods, gosh. It follows him and his adventures in the first book to keep this wolf captive, and you get to learn about his life and his connection to Annabeth. Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson series, obviously being his cousin. Well, not obviously, but she's his cousin. The second book, obviously, you can tell by the title, it has something to do with the Hammer of Thor. So in the first book, you learn that the hammer goes missing, and in the second book, it's a quest to go find the hammer, because Thor isn't as brilliant as he is in the Marvel movies. He is kind of stupid? I don't want to say stupid, he might kill me. Although I'd like to meet Otis, the little goat, so go for it. I will be posting a review of this when it's finished. I know I said I would post a review on the Sword of Summer, but I went into such a detail one on my Snapchat. I really didn't feel like repeating myself, having the same people watch it again. I know, but I will definitely be reviewing this book. Spoiler, but I've got to chapter 5, so I know. There's a transgender child in this, and I'm super proud that it is 2016 and this is like an acceptable thing to put into a book now, and I can't wait to learn more about her / him. But for now, she has decided she is a she, because she's gender fluid, so she is a she. Her fashion sense, by the way, green and pink, loving it. Rose high tops. And apparently she looks like Leigh. Now, I know they are different from the Marvel universe, but I just can't help picturing a female version of Tom Hiddleston, and it gets me all excited. And the last book I will be reading this month is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, which the film came out really recently, and I haven't been to see it yet, but someone keeps asking me to go, and I would like to go. But as friends, sorry, not looking for a date. But sure, why not? You pay for it and we'll be fine. This book is set in Wales, which is why I love it so much. I love the concept, I love the idea. I love how it started out as this book about like circus freaks, and then it just turned into this fantastic novel and now a fantastic film. I haven't read it before, and I kind of wanted to wait until really close to the film release, because around the time I started hearing about it from Jessie the reader, I knew about the film deal. So I was like, okay, well, when this gets released as a film, when they announce the date of that, a few months before, I'll read the book. So it's like fresh in my mind, and I can kind of do a little comparison in my head. Unfortunately, the reading slump hit right as I was starting this book, and so I haven't read it yet. I am on chapter 3, so as soon as I finish Magnus Chase, which will hopefully be over the next couple of days, I will be reading this. It's, in a weird way, the way I described it to my dad, because I really want my dad to watch this, because I know he will be super into it, and I'm gonna get him to read the book after I've read it as well. The way I explained it to him is basically X-Men for children, if that makes sense. I know X-Men have children there, but I mean, like, if the entire place was just filled with children. Like, imagine Logan wasn't an adult. Just imagine he was a kid. And everyone else is kids. That's basically... I mean, I haven't read it, so I don't know for sure. But from what I've heard, from reviews, from the film trailers... Oh my god, my favourite actor is in it. My favourite child actor is in it. And he's adorable. I can't wait to watch it. But yeah, I think it is kind of like X-Men. I don't know. It isn't X-Men, but... Can you see there's like a thing about Marvel just infecting my life? Anyway, that is it for this month's TBR. I'm only giving myself 3 books because I know I will read more, but if you've ever watched a TBR of mine in the past, you know that I never stick to it. So I figure by giving myself just these 3 books that I know I will be reading this month because of the film release, the book just came out, and the library deadline. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please recommend some books down below, because I feel like I've been MIA from BookTube. I haven't really been watching many BookTube videos because it's just been making me depressed that I couldn't read. So leave a link down to the books that I mentioned, and also, you know, the film trailer, so you can go watch that and get excited. If you have seen it, please, no spoilers. If you've read it, please, no spoilers. If you've finished Hammer of Thor, which, let's face it, most people probably have, no spoilers. Please. Subscribe for more bookbinders, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully sometime next week. Ooh! No promises, but hopefully by next week my Magnus Chase review shall be up. Toodaloo! Look, I learned how to wave since I've been gone. And the second book, Hammer's THOR.